The most valuable tool a Grand Knight has in leading his council is the ability to delegate tasks and duties. Hello, Brother Knights, and welcome to the Grand Knight training series, Delegation. My name is Sean Vieters, fraternal trainer with the Knights of Columbus. As a Grand Knight, it is not your job to do everything. Leadership trainings often use the analogy of a sports team. You will never see the coach get frustrated with his players, bench the entire team, and jump in to play the game himself. As Grand Knights, we need to be able to delegate and let the person or persons free to complete the assigned tasks. If there is a task that you cannot fit onto your priority list as a Grand Knight, delegate it. Let your team do the work they are there to do. In leadership situations, our pride sometimes can get in the way. Delegating does not leave the impression of, I can't handle this, but is a way of working together with your brothers to achieve common goals and to help build capacity for stronger leadership in each other. Communication with the other men of your team is essential for good delegation. Worthy Grand Knights, be honest with them and don't be afraid to ask. An important key is to have a very clear understanding of what you are doing and why you're doing it. It's difficult to divide time properly or place a level of importance on a particular task if we're not sure of the what and the why of these tasks. So list everything that needs to be completed, the number or resort the list according to the urgent priority. The more crucial the task, regardless of the amount of time it takes to complete, needs to get done first. Sometimes our default priority lists places the most time-consuming items first. Gentlemen, this often leads to a situation where we run out of time, and smaller but more critical items are rushed to completion and quite frequently contain errors. The most urgent tasks we need to get done receive priority number one status, whether it takes 5 minutes or it takes 5 hours. When delegating, be very clear on the time frames and the expectations that you have. The secret sauce is to leave no room for gray areas. Blessed McGivney, in his wisdom, founded the Knights of Columbus on the 4 principles of charity, unity, fraternity, and patriotism. These principles, brothers, constantly draw our focus on how the service of our knighthood should be lived. The principles are at the heart of the Knights of Columbus, and they're the center of everything we do. Without them, we become lost, and we risk losing our identity as Knights of Columbus. As fraternal leaders, and Grand Knights especially, the principles are our guiding stars. Every Knights of Columbus leader, whether from the council, district, state, and supreme, we all need the guidance of these 4 principles to be strong and faithful leaders. It may be at times challenging to decide who is best suited to delegate a task to. Worthy Grand Knights make these decisions through the principles of unity and fraternity. You don't want yes men or to necessarily take the easy choice. If only a portion of our members are engaged through our programs, the rest begin to feel like we have nothing for them, or we don't care for them. Pick men who have a passion to serve in an area, even if they'll require a little extra help or mentorship. The key to the success of delegation, as previously mentioned, is to have a conversation where you very clearly lay out what's expected and when it is expected. It would be uncharitable to put our brother knights in a situation where they have to try to guess what you as a Grand Knight are looking for rather than knowing what you're looking for. So how do you support your brother knights? You've delegated a task. A great stumbling block for Grand Knights is the mentality of, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, mixed with a little bit of, I can't ask for help, or they'll see me as unfit to be a Grand Knight and walk all over me. Look to the principles of unity and fraternity. How do you lead your brother knights forward without getting emotional and taking over and becoming a micromanager? Be present, be available, right? Fraternity, right? Show enthusiasm in what they're working on. Offer feedback in the way of encouragement. This doesn't mean you cannot offer critique, but do so in a way that will build confidence and lead them to success. Know what supplies and resources the council has at its disposal. It's encouraging to your brothers when you have the answers to their problems and offer them the tools that they need in order to succeed. Another component here, worthy Grand Knights, is to give your teams the freedom to operate and to be inventive and creative. We all bring our own flavor, and nothing hits at unity within a council worse than being shut down because you wanted to try something a little bit different and were simply told no. This is the reason for very clear expectations and guidelines. As long as the teams are working within the parameters that you've laid out for them, worthy Grand Knights, let them do their thing. They feel good about their achievements. The council gets to experience maybe something a little fresh, and unity and fraternity amongst our brothers are strengthened. Not knowing how to keep our volunteer members accountable to their tasks and duties does frustrate a lot of Knights of Columbus leaders. These negative emotions and thoughts unravel the cable of unity and the fibers snap. And we no longer trust in our fellow brother knight. The beauty of our fraternity is that we are our brother's keepers. Holding men accountable, it's not very difficult. Communication, Grand Knights, is your secret weapon. You must stay in contact with your teams. Touching base with them weekly or daily, depending on the urgency, is a must. This conversation isn't to hold anyone's feet to the fire or asking, what are you doing? Rather, simply to ask, how are things going? Do you have everything you need? Is there anything you need me to have someone else do? As long as the clear expectations were given, Grand Knights, and this was understood by your brothers, this should not feel to them as threatening. Rather, gives a man confidence he's not alone and he will succeed because of the support of his brothers. Preventing volunteer burnout should always be a part of your decision process in who you delegate to. As the Grand Knight, the well-being of your council is directly tied in to the well-being of your members. They come first. As men, we don't always ask for help or admit when we're in over our heads. Open communication is critical. And your council members should feel that communication with you as a Grand Knight is a two-way street. Setting achievable goals and expectations sets what I call operational boundaries and prevents anyone from stretching themselves a little too thin. Mentorship is another thing at play here that can provide longevity and succession. Not only is it a good teaching tool, but in learning from the experience of seasoned knights, we get to know each other on a personal level, which again strengthens unity and fraternity in the council. Our order was never designed to leave a man to his own devices in figuring out what to do and how to get it done. Facilitate problem solving. Don't simply step in and fix or solve the issue. Work together on a solution. If you feel like a brother knight is taking on too much, no matter how much he protests, you are responsible for his well-being. And you should not, as Grand Knight, let his plate become overfilled. The last question to address: how do you as Grand Knight work together with your entire team. With all the different experiences, opinions, visions, ideas, how do you present a unified voice to the council? We've touched on a lot of these keys already, and hopefully by now I've been able to show you that when placing our decisions and actions against the three principles, our mode of operation should automatically ask, do I need to respond from a place of charity that sees Christ in my brother and compels me to serve, rather than to simply direct someone to a particular end? Is there a risk of damaging the cable and striking disunity into the hearts of my brothers? Will we grow closer together as a brotherhood and build each other up? Communication, worthy Grand Knights. It's that adage, communication, communication, communication. All right, constant communication is the difference between proactive versus reactive. Right? As a team, work together to set goals and expectations. Right? Establish ways for your officers, directors, chairmen, and council members to give you feedback, and with charity, listen patiently, giving proper consideration to varying opinions. And publicly acknowledge and celebrate their successes. This instills confidence in your brothers, and they will be eager and inspired to not only fully participate in the life of the council, but to take on more tasks and more duties. As we land the plane on this topic, here are some 3 top takeaways. You are not meant to do everything. The role of the Grand Knight was never designed or intended for you to do it all. Having a clear understanding of what needs to be done and why makes it easier to delegate the task to the right brother knight. And finally, setting clear expectations and providing supports as necessary for that task to be completed. Brothers, if you have any questions about the content covered in this training, please reach out to the Fraternal Training team at fraternaltraining@kfc.org. Thank you for your commitment as a dedicated leader in the Knights of Columbus. Vivat Jesus.